with you here from Cummins Camping, and this is a response video from Andrew the Mechanic. I subscribe to his channel. If you don't know who Andrew the Mechanic is, look him up. He's got 600 or 700 subscribers. Does some pretty good videos, very informative, pretty entertaining. And so Andrew, this is for you. And these are tools that I've made to make my life easier and to get jobs done when I couldn't afford, or the shop wouldn't buy, or didn't, just didn't buy the special tool. Everybody that's a mechanic knows if you're looking through a manual and there's something special about an engine or a transmission or something that you're working on, they require special tools. They always have a part number and it's always expensive. So a lot of times we will figure a way around it. Well, recently I did a bell housing on a Cummins ISM engine, about a 370 horse, so about a mid-size engine, 12 liter or so, and they have bolts, the two or three of them you couldn't get to with just any normal wrench. So I had this wrench. I have a wrench and a socket, the Westcraft socket. I don't know if I can get that to Westcraft, 1/2-inch drive. I don't even know what size it is. 13/16 makes no difference. And an offset Craftsman 15/16, because it was 15/16 that I needed. I marked it ISM because that's what I was working on, and I even wrote the part number down in case I ever run into it again and this gets lost or whatever. So I have that, worked out perfect. I was able to torque the bolts, engine doesn't leak anymore, perfect. It worked. Next, when I started my career, I started at a Mack dealership, Mack trucks. At the time, they were using a split head design, 2 heads, 3 for the front, 3 for the rear, 2 cylinder heads. When we did a lot of cylinder head jobs, a lot of head gasket jobs, a lot of rebuilds, so you needed a way to pick them up off there. You utilized old axle nuts and washers. And later in later 90s, they went to metric bolts. So that's why I have 2 sets, standard and metric. You can screw these down into the rocker arm holes, pick them up, set them down. I mean, they weren't light, they're about 90 pounds or so, 80, 90 pounds, maybe more. And pick them up and set them on the tire, and somebody else could help you out there. But that's what these were for, just welded together. Worked perfect. Next thing I have is, this isn't really much of a tool, but if you've ever worked on semis and you have air fans, just take a standard ball valve, some piping together, screw into your fan. You have to put some air into it to release it, close it off, and you can disconnect your air hose, and then you can take your fan apart, rebuild it, do the same thing going back together. You have to put air to it and cage an air fan on a semi truck in order to get it apart, or it will blow to pieces and hurt somebody or kill you. But that's what that's for. This contraption that I made just to put air to an air fan on a semi. The last thing I've got to show you is this conglomeration. This was used, and we've since gotten a kit for this, but to test charge air systems. I would leave the hose on, is what I did, on the charge air cooler or on the piping, put the hose over here, we'll block off one end with the other hose, put this on the other end, the hose on here and a clamp, and I put welds on there to keep the hose from pulling off on both sides. That's all those are, just keep the hose from pulling off. You clamp it just like you would any other, and regulate it to whatever, usually put 30 pounds or so in it to test a charge air system on a semi. And that actually worked really, really well. Of course, it leaked in a couple spots, but it was slow leaks. And I was looking for big leaks, so if I'm looking for a big problem on a semi, you're going to hear it. And it wasn't no big deal if it leaked a little bit through those. But like I said, we have the actual kit for test and charge air systems here now, and I no longer need these. They sit in my toolbox. So that's all I have. Those are my special tools that I've made over the years, and I probably have more that I haven't found or I've lost or forgotten about, but there's a few of them. So thanks for watching, everybody, and there you go, Andrew. There's my video for you, and I hope you enjoy it.